Right guys, so this final video is just to talk you through a few more ao1 tasks that I want everyone to do before I set you some work next week going through the ao2 on this topic. I want everyone to do all of these tasks. Of course, there are some further extension tasks that you're very welcome to do. There's extension reading both in your booklet. There's a really interesting piece on Baptist churches and their approaches to the sacraments and the Eucharist. There's also the Alistair McGrath piece that you can find linked at the top of Moodle. Those are interesting reads. Add points from those to your own notes. But here are 4 tasks that I'm expecting from everyone. It's about 2 to 2.5 hours worth of work, and this will consolidate everything that we've been doing so far. So this task you will find described on the Moodle page, and it's looking at similarities and differences in practice. Obviously, if you think that the body and blood of Jesus is literally present there once this bread has been sanctified, then you're going to treat that with an awful lot of respect, and we see a lot more formality in those churches where there is a belief in the real presence. For other denominations, it can be much less formal. If you just believe that what you're dealing with is a symbol, then all kinds of things might be acceptable as a symbol. And indeed, in some churches, particularly where the use of alcohol is not encouraged, you might find something like Ribena being used. Anyway, you've got a broad overview on the Moodle page, and then your task is to use the notes from the videos in the first task, which you've got summarised in your booklet. The summary on page 14 takes you through some differences in the more formal and less formal ways of practicing this. And there's a mark scheme on page 23 that also provides some really relevant content. And use that to make a short visual set of notes on these differences in worship. You can take a photo, you can email it, you can post on the forum. It's up to you how you want to feed back on that. But you need to have a visual summary of those similarities and differences. To set us up for the ao2 work that you're going to be doing next week, we need to get a really clear idea of arguments and evidence we might use for and against the idea that the Eucharist divides or unites Christians. Now, this will take you 20 to 30 minutes, and it's basically reading through a couple of pages in your workbook. I'm going to recommend you colour code in 2 ways. Use 2 different highlighters as you read through, and then just draw up a table of arguments on each side. You're looking for a table that's got 4 boxes in. One to look at similarities in practices, one to look at differences, one to look at common ground in belief, one to say that there's little common ground in belief. You can pull together your notes from all the different sections there, so when it talks about whether there's little common ground, try and make sure you're using key terms like virtualism and transubstantiation to draw your contrast there. And where you can add in scholarship, each of these views is associated with a particular scholar, so just make sure you've got that included. To bring this all together, I want you to think about how we might apply this to an ao1 question. So if you turn to page 15 and 16 of your workbook, what you find there is on page 15 a mark scheme for a previous question on this topic. And if you look down the mark scheme, you get an idea of the kind of detail that's included in the mark scheme and the range of material that's expected. So what I'd like to do is just have a read through that, just make sure that it all makes sense to you. And then down at the bottom of page 15, you've got a choice of 20 mark questions on this topic. Choose the one that you're most interested in or the one that you find most challenging. And then what you're going to do is go back to the mark scheme above, highlight anything in there that would be relevant to use in the essay that you're writing. Some of those questions will have more relevance with that material than others, obviously. Then what I'd like you to do is highlight those bits that you can steal to put in your own mark scheme, if there are any. You don't have to write those out again. And then on page 16, give up to 5 bullet points that's going to complete the mark scheme for the question that you've chosen. It's up to you if you just write the 1 mark scheme here. You could do a few of them. It's worth thinking about how you might play around with the material. You could write those questions up. That's up to you. You could transform it into a plan. That's also up to you. But at the very least, everyone needs to have at least 1 5 bullet point mark scheme of their own on page 16. And then finally, to test your knowledge, you can use your notes to complete the knowledge test on pages 24 to 25 in your booklet. You should be able to find all the answers in there. Drop me an email if there's any you can't find. And having done that, I want you to try without your notes to complete the online knowledge test that you can find. It's on the RS overview page. If you scroll down to knowledge tests, there's a link for online knowledge tests. You can find them all there. You can have a go at some of the topics we've done previously as well. But I want you to complete that. It's linked on this page as well. Deadline for all of this work is set for the end of this week and the beginning of next week. So the deadline for all of this work is the end of Monday next week. I'll be setting the next block of work next Tuesday. And what I'd like you to do in the interim, if you've got any additional study time, have a look at those extension opportunities that you've got on Moodle, or have a look at the material you did earlier in the year and start doing some revision there. Okay. Anyway, guys, I hope this has all been useful. I hope you find the work enjoyable. If you've got any problems at all, drop me an email, and I'm looking forward to when I finally get to teach you properly again.